and then spent some time at TCU before transferring into Baylor. And she really made a name for herself last year with 6 goals and 9 assists, an all Big 12 player. And Isbrink with her first goal of the season, a beauty in the 85th minute against Texas A&M to help Baylor pick up that first win over A&M since 2000. Baylor 4-1 on the season, and that 4-game winning streak, their best since 2018. Meanwhile, for the SMU Mustangs, they are 4-2 coming into this matchup. SMU losing last time out at the hands of TCU, and you talked about that match for SMU. And one thing we didn't mention, which was the most significant, is the huge rain and lightning delay, 3 hours worth, and the fact that it started at 11:59 p.m. right on the eve of Labor Day. We are having some clock issues to start things out, and that is here in Washburn Soccer and Track Stadium. And as they get that settled, that is what we are waiting on. It gives us a chance to think back if you want to. If it's not too damaging for you, Steve, if you haven't blocked it from your memory of that very late night, and then it turned into an early morning for the SMU Mustangs at TCU Horned Frogs.
It did, and honestly, I think you have to commend the players on both sides for playing as well as they did, not just because of the hour, but also, the field was a little soupy. The grounds crew at SMU did an unbelievable job squeegeeing pools of water off of this surface to make it playable, but it was still soft, and there were still times that the ball was affected either in the way it landed out of the air or the way it moved on the roll. And all things considered, I thought both teams performed pretty admirably considering the hour and the circumstances.
Yeah, I think so. It was a tough night to play. But SMU did get through it with a 1-0 loss to TCU. TCU the better side in that one, and TCU rises up in the polls, and they are just outside the top 25 after that victory over SMU. But now to today's action, and we are going to start this match without a game clock that is actually functional right now. The game clock is frozen at 39 minutes. And so we will try to keep you updated as best we can of the approximate time in this match. However, SMU and Baylor, as we get underway here, we don't actually have a clock that is running for people to see here in the stadium.
We don't, but we have cell phones. We can figure this out.
Absolutely. So while you work on that as the unofficial timekeeper for this first half, tell you about these SMU Mustangs who have started 4-2 on the season. Opened up with a win over Northwestern State 3-0, and then took down Texas Southern 6-0. Ran into a buzzsaw in Texas, a 6-3 loss to a ranked Texas team. But then took down SFA 3-2, followed that up with a win over Little Rock 2-0 before the 1-0 loss last time out at the hands of TCU. Meanwhile, Baylor, like we mentioned, they are on that 4-game winning streak right now. They started off the season with a loss on the road at Mississippi State. Bounced back with a big victory over St. Bonaventure at home by a 5-2 final, and then went to Hawaii to take on Hawaii and Portland. Ended up winning both of those games 1-0, and in fact, Baylor comes in with 3 straight 1-0 decisions as Baylor's Teresa McCullough comes in on the right side and dumps it off into the corner to Ava Kohlberg, and Kohlberg earns a corner kick early on for the Baylor Bears, an early set piece for this Baylor team as Kohlberg's back in the starting lineup after not starting the first 4 games of the season.
Yeah, nice job by Lou Brousseau getting over and knocking the ball over the end line. You don't want to give up a corner, but it looked like the defense got its signals crossed a little bit, and she closed ground quickly to snuff out a shot.
Tyler Isbrick hitting it with her left foot, but it was deflected by Salama, who got out there to challenge. And Mackenzie Rudden, one of the midfielders for SMU, able to give it a half clearance. Isbrick back down to McCullough. McCullough trying to turn the corner, serves it across, and it is out of play. By the way, it is a muggy night here in Dallas, 85 degrees at game time, and fairly humid as well. 64% humidity, winds coming out of the northeast again at 10 to 20. So they're coming out of the top left of your screen and cutting diagonally across the field.
It is muggy, but we've done a couple of games that were muggy and almost 20 degrees hotter. I'll take it. And so will the players, I'm sure.
And also, as you know, you see what just a couple weeks difference makes as we're back to 7 o'clock starts. The sun setting more frequently behind the west stands as we get further on in the season. And by the time we reach halftime, the sun will have fully set behind the stands and should not be affecting the keepers. But as you can see on both sides of the field, the sun looking back to the west, especially when it peeks through the clouds, of course, will be an issue tonight.
Yeah, and that obviously comes into play on corner kicks from either of the corners on the west side of the field, or throw-ins or free kicks that are near the end line as well. As you said, most of the field, fortunately for the players, is covered in shade already. But for the first portion of the game, the spots in front of both goals can get a little dicey.
And again, we're having clock issues here at Washburn Soccer and Track Stadium. No score early, but we are about 4.5 minutes into the match here in Dallas. Steve Lansdale, and I'm John Little. Great to have you with us, too. Last time SMU and Baylor got together here in Dallas was back in 2022, and number 8, that center midfielder for SMU, Mackenzie Rudden, had the game-winning goal. Nice ball to Nieves, who's able to turn on it weakly, and Azul Alvarez brings it in, but an early chance for SMU. And Baylor's really excited about Azul Alvarez. Actually won the job from the incumbent starter, Ashley Zirkle, with her play in training in the offseason. And Alvarez, the transfer from TCU, has been marvelous to start the year.
She has, and talking to Coach Leonard a couple days ago, Azul Alvarez has been everything that the coaches hoped for when they brought her into Baylor. She's a very good shot stopper. She organizes the defense in front of her very well and communicates very well. And Coach Leonard was talking about how she just has this sort of calming, settling presence of the players around her.
Great ball to Salama, but she or someone was just offside. Lou Brousseau could not have played that ball any better. It was just out in front of Kohlberg and into Salama's feet. We'll try to get a look at why this was an offsides. And I guess it was Salama there, and not by much.
It was Salama, and not by much is right. I'd love to see another angle if it exists, just to see where she was when the ball was played. The angle we just saw was a little bit skewed, so we couldn't really tell if her feet were even. It sure looked like she was very close, but hey, she didn't object. Nobody on the SMU bench objected. And if she didn't speak up, she clearly saw it better than we did, so on we go.
Baylor's done a great job defensively this season, and they do a wonderful job getting numbers behind the ball. SMU thought maybe slotting balls in behind was the best way to attack this team, and they try one there. Here's a play across, and the header is in, but an offside on McCullough will wipe away a possible goal on a really good serve from Natalie Votter. However, McCullough was offside.
And just like Eliana Salama a moment ago, it was awfully close. And on offside calls, especially if they're very close to either goal line, considering that we're sitting almost directly at midfield, I usually look at the benches to see the reactions, and nobody on the Baylor bench objected to that call either. So far, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the line judge who made each of those calls.
And that was a little bit more clear that McCullough was offside on the header. This one gets played in. Ungashik with the half clearance on her header. Out wide to McCullough. McCullough trying to cut in. And as she does so, she has it taken away by King. And then Brousseau plays it back up the field to Eliana Salama. So each team getting a marvelous chance at a goal on one side and perhaps a goal on the other, wiped away thanks to an early offsides call. And we've gotten a sense so far of how through the first about 6 minutes of this match, and again, the clock is not working. We'll try to keep you apprised of how much time is left in each half, as the clock has just started working here at Washburn Soccer and Track Stadium, and we are at under 38 minutes to play. But what I was going to say is the play looks relatively even so far, with each team able to make plays in the offensive third so far, even though there were offsides.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're less than 10 minutes in, and it kind of feels like both teams are still going through that feeling out process, trying to sort out what the other team is going to do. They can watch all the video in the world of their opponents, but until you're on the field and get a sense of the distance, the spacing, the timing, the speed of the other team, you just don't really know until you go through it for a few minutes. And I think they're still in that sort of tentative stage.
SMU looking to attack, and Salama did not run when Brousseau thought she would, but plays it into a dead corner, and Kohlberg trying to let it roll out, but it will not oblige. And then Salama, who leads the team with fouls, that's her 9th of the season, is called for the takedown here.
She did a nice job as the ball slowed down. Kohlberg was trying to let it run over the end line, and Salama sort of danced around her and just flicked it back enough that she kept it in bounds, so Kohlberg had to play it, and then Salama got called for the takedown.
Throw in coming for the SMU Mustangs. SMU about to go into ACC play. This is their final non-conference game. They played every one of their non-cons at home so far. 4-2 in those 6 games, and already this is their 7th home match of the season. And they have 9 matches on this homestand, the longest homestand by any Power 4 school this year. And SMU's trying to take advantage not only tonight, but also as they start conference play against Syracuse and Boston College in the coming weeks. Nice ball here again, but once again, a team is called offsides. This time it's SMU, as I guess Kelly Gordon was off when that ball was played her direction.
Yeah, Kelly Gordon was definitely up front. She was a few steps ahead of Truth Byers. That is one where I would think that the Mustangs might have objected a little more, because from our angle, I thought there were 1, if not 2 defenders behind her, in addition to goalkeeper Azul Alvarez.
Getting a sense of how the lines might be called in key moments as the evening goes on. By the way, Ashley Cedro is our referee in the center. Tiffany Turpin and Gloria Martinez-Resendez are calling each sideline. Little chance for Baylor in possession here as Augustin sends it across and out into the corner. Trying to dribble in and cross it, and this one ends up a little bit wide for Ashley Merrill, creeping in on that back post. Merrill, one of the leading goal scorers active in NCAA Division I soccer.
Yeah, she is a threat from just about everywhere she goes on the field, and you're right, she's one of the leading goal scorers, and because of that, she will draw significant defensive attention from literally every team Baylor plays this year. And at first that was a little bit of an adjustment, but she has gotten used to it, and she's figured out ways to play through it. And really the best way to get out of double team or extensive defensive attention is for your teammates to start scoring, at which point your opponent then has to defend them honestly, and therefore then you get back to more favorable one-on-one matchups.
Merrill started her career at Dallas Baptist with Michelle Leonard, the head coach at Baylor, and then transferred in right as Leonard was taking over the program. Now 3 seasons ago, Merrill was unreal at that Division II level as a freshman and a sophomore. Bad giveaway here, and Byers feeds it into Salama. Salama is on from 18, and she guides it in to put SMU up 1-0 as the Mustangs take advantage of the Baylor giveaway.
Absolutely right. That was a bad mistake on the defensive end by the Bears, and unselfish by the Mustangs. You see the giveaway, which Kelly Gordon punches over to Truth Byers, and then Byers could have driven toward the right post, but she saw Eliana Salama all alone just outside the 18 and fed number 9 for a 19-yard shot, and Salama did not miss, drilling it into the lower left corner. Gorgeous shot set up by Kelly Gordon and Truth Byers.
12th minute goal by Eliana Salama. She leads the team again with 4 goals. Had goals in 3 consecutive games, but the last 2 she had been scoreless. That giveaway by Hallie Augustin, and just not something you normally see from such a steady defender for Baylor. It's a mistake that the Bears are going to have to shake off as they give up their first goal in their last 4 matches.
Yeah, and you're right. It's very uncharacteristic. When we talked to Coach Leonard the other day, she raved about this defensive unit playing in front of Azul Alvarez. Obviously, when you see a bunch of shutouts, it's easy to look at the goalkeeper and say, oh, she must be terrific. And Alvarez is terrific. But it's every goalkeeper will tell you that she's only as good as the unit in front of her. And that group, not just the defenders, but the holding midfielders as well, has been terrific for Baylor this year. And part of that is simply not making unforced mistakes like the one that we just saw that led to the SMU goal.
SMU taking advantage, and you see they have won their last 21 matches when scoring first, including their 4-0 start to this season when scoring first. Will that hold against a Baylor program that's certainly capable of scoring? We'll find out. Byers leaves this behind her, and Sky Leach is on it for Baylor. Advancing through the middle, looking to attack, slots it out left, really good ball. And Cotillard comes out to cut off the angle and keep it 1-0.
Really good ball, followed by really good speed down the left side, running right past Maura Yumel. And you're absolutely right. Cotillard quickly off her line comes out and erases that scoring chance.
Just a great opportunity for Baylor on that play. That was Isgrig cutting in on the left side. And Isgrig, who is so dangerous, cut off by Cotillard for a key save.
Mark up, mark up!
As Baylor lines up for another corner kick, you can see now the sun is almost gone off that south end, unless you are Sierra Cotillard or the 2 defenders, Sophie King and Maura Yumel, who are glued to those goalposts. Pretty much everyone else is looking at shade.
Here's Isgrig, has a step of advantage, curls one in, and again, Cotillard is equal to it. 2 big saves by Cotillard on Tyler Isgrig early.
Yeah, Isgrig has a cannon of a shot, especially with her left foot, which is a little unusual in that she is naturally a right-footed player, but she can absolutely drill it. That one, she didn't really let it go with full speed so much as trying to curl it around Sierra Cotillard. But Cotillard is a tall 5'11" defender with goalie with long arms, and she grabbed it pretty easily.
Another giveaway. Salama trying to slot it inside toward Gordon, and she is held off. A heady play by Natalie Votter, the sophomore outside back, to shield her player, Kelly Gordon, from getting in and getting a shot on Alvarez.
It was good positional defense, and so good that she fooled me. I thought she touched the ball, playing it back to Alvarez. But obviously the officials have a much closer view and didn't agree.
A good look at number 18, Marissa Gray, the 5'9" grad from Carrollton to Creekview High School. An injury to Blythe Obar, who was a returning starter for Baylor, meant they needed another center back, and Gray had pretty much retired. She hadn't played since back in 2019, in fact. Injuries had taken their toll, but Gray just happened to stop by Michelle Leonard's office back in the summer, or back in the spring, I should say. They had just had that tough injury to Blythe Obar. And Gray was back on campus in Waco, and they just happened to bring up, hey, we just lost a center back. Maybe, you've got another year of eligibility left. Gray gave it some thought, decided to come back, and she's been the starting center back all year.
I loved the way Coach Leonard described it. She said she sort of just went with her gut and asked, do you have any eligibility left? As if to suggest anyone who walks in the office,
if
she'll
you've got
sort of
eligibility
size you
left,
up and say, John, you look like you could play. And then they, had to go through compliance and get all their ducks in a row for the admission and eligibility and all that. And she got that with Gray, and she's been a very nice addition.
1-0, the SMU advantage over Baylor on that Eliana Salama goal. It's really good to see Marissa Gray get back out there doing something that she loves, and also getting an opportunity after she picked up her bachelor's in kinesiology to come back to school, paid for, of course, and maybe look to advance her career in something different. She had thought about doing some physical therapy as well, and maybe she has her aspirations looking a little different direction now that she's back on campus in Waco.
Maybe so. I mean, once you get back into the school environment and get back on a team, you start to get that itch again. And obviously she wouldn't have agreed to enroll and join the team if that itch wasn't still there. And it'll be interesting to see, depending on how her season goes, if she tries to pursue more play after this.
And that one is an opportunity for Alicia Lockett, who's still trying to get on the board in her freshman season. Testing Cotillard again, and a third save. Obviously not much power on that one, but it was placed in a spot where Cotillard had to dive.
Yeah, and Cotillard laid out pretty nicely to settle that one. Again, her height and her reach are part of what makes her an effective goalkeeper, and they certainly came into play on that one.
SMU played it with a hand. It just happened to roll up on Truth Byers there. And SMU with the early goal by Eliana Salama off the giveaway by Baylor's Hallie Augustin makes it a 1-0 advantage for the SMU Mustangs. And now for Baylor, they're trying to come back with a goal of their own. But for the Bears, when you've won a certain way each of the last 3 games in 1-0 fashion, and we know that they can win in other ways as well, Steve, and you're playing against a fairly solid defensive team in SMU, for Baylor, how different is this going to be now being down on the road?
Well, it is a little bit unfamiliar territory, at least in recent weeks.
Merrill serves it in, and McCullough skies it away.
The Bears not only haven't been behind, they haven't given up a goal in what seems like forever. And so, it's not like they're down 4 with 10 minutes left. I mean, we've still got 70 minutes left or 65 minutes left. And the Bears are more than capable of scoring and putting up goals, and not just one. So it's not like it's a dire situation by any means, but it's a little bit different for them to deal with. And every coach in the world will tell you that they're more interested in how their team responds to various situations, both good and bad, than they are in what leads to those situations in the first place. So, okay, now Michelle Leonard and her staff will get a chance to see how their team responds to falling behind, and while the play has been fairly equal, falling behind based off of a giveaway.
It just shows how good they've been most of the season. Nice run by King and a good feed by Salama. King slots it across, redirected back toward the end line. Byers runs after it. King touches it over the touch line to give it back to the Baylor Bears, but another nice play for SMU. You saw that statistic earlier that Baylor had only given up 3 goals through the first 5 games of the season, that 0.6 goals against average, if you will, after giving up more than twice that last year. And so Baylor is going to have to rely on a little bit of offensive magic to turn this match around. Meanwhile, for SMU this season, if you take away the TCU match, Steve, they've been a very high-powered bunch.
They have, and I think what's probably most encouraging to Nicole Nelson and her staff is it's not one player who's come out of the chute and scored, 10 goals in the first 5 games or whatever. It's been a widely spread out offense, getting no more than 3 from any player until Eliana Salama tonight got her 4th. The versatility, the number of ways in which the Mustangs can attack a defense is sometimes more valuable than having one star player that you can count on to shoot 10 times a game and maybe come up with a goal every game. It's a varied offense that makes opposing defenses worry about multiple areas of points of attack.
Got Salama with 3 goals coming in, Nieves with 3 goals, and Liz Eddy as well. And you saw the number there, about 2.8 goals a game this season for SMU, top 25 in the nation at this point, and that's even after the shutout loss to TCU the other day. But they just didn't have many chances against TCU. That TCU side was a very good side, and I know it was a weird night as well. So I don't know if you can throw what happened that night and morning out the window, but SMU just did not have much of the ball in that loss to TCU.
They didn't, and when you play in conditions like that, it usually goes one of two ways. Either nobody can get started. You know, you're running in mud, your feet literally get stuck sometimes. The ball will suddenly roll to a halt, and therefore teams get very few shots, very few chances, and scoring is even more difficult to come by than normal. Or sometimes you play on a field that's wet and the ball just skips all over the wet grass, and you know, that's when you can have good defensive teams playing in front of solid goalies and it ends up 6-4 or something like that. Usually there are almost no chances or everything seems to go in.
Little overloaded pressure there by SMU. They had 2 versus 1, and it ends up in a corner kick. Lou Brousseau is on that side along with Sammy Nieves. Brousseau is going to take it. You see it's into a wind based on the flag. Lines it toward the top of the 18. It's backed up by Hartman, and SMU will try to keep it in possession. Maura Umel serves it to the top, knocked down by Rudden. Rudden looking to distribute. Really nice ball out to Gordon. Throws it in front. It's punched away and backed up by Salama just outside the 18. Dancing in on Iskrig. Salama going for her second, and it's just high.
Really interesting setup on that corner kick because you had Brousseau take it. Sammy Nieves was 8 or 10 yards off to the right, and before the ball was kicked, Eliana Salama came out toward the corner, which meant the Mustangs had 3 of their top offensive threats racing right near the corner flag. It ended up working, though, as Hartman was able to keep possession and circle it back to Salama for that shot, which didn't miss by much.
Notwithstanding the poor touch by a center back that led to a goal, has Baylor looked disorganized defensively at all to you so far? As they end up getting a chance. I'll let you think about it as McCullough turns on this one. Now I'll let you answer. Go ahead, Steve.
I don't think the Bears look disorganized so much as it looks to me more like the Mustangs have identified certain areas where they think they can find gaps, and they're playing more directly, and they're playing faster, quicker passes, 1 and 2 touch rather than maybe 3 or 4 touches, and therefore they've been able to find a couple of those gaps and thread Kelly Gordon through or Eliana Salama through. I don't think the Bears have defended badly at all. I just think the Mustangs coaching staff has put together a pretty good scouting report and found some gaps that they're going to try to attack, and now it's up to the Baylor coaches to make an adjustment on the back end to try to seal those off.
See if this one is onside as it comes out wide. That right-footed serve headed back out. And again, it was Ungashik who he spotlighted off the top. Now here's Iskrig. She's got that heavy shot with either foot, and Iskrig wings it wide. The interesting thing about number 11 in green is that she is naturally right-footed. However, a lot of people think that she's left-footed just with the amount of bombs that she takes with her left foot.
Yeah, if she's within 25 or 30 yards of the goal, she's in range, especially with that left foot. And you're right, she is a naturally right-footed player, theoretically more comfortable on the right foot. But as far as pure power, I agree. I think it's easy to say that it's easy to see why some people think she's left-footed because she's just got a cannon with that left leg.
Here's Salama. She's been so dangerous early this season and already has the goal today. Tries to play it across to Nieves. Cut off by Vader, who sends it back out near midfield. SMU backs it up and keeps it in possession. 19 minutes remaining in the opening half. SMU got the opener tonight from Eliana Salama. Neither team has made a change as of yet. By the way, for the SMU Mustangs, they are still without last year's leading goal scorer, the striker Nia Rose, who is playing at the FIFA Women's World Cup for her native Canada. She scored the opener for Canada in the 3-3 draw with France in pool play. Didn't factor into the scoring, but Canada absolutely walloped Fiji 9-0, and now they'll take on Brazil to see if they can advance out of pool play and get into knockout stages at the U20 FIFA World Cup. And SMU definitely misses Nia Rose, there's no doubt about it, but you know, some of those chances to play for your country, those are once in a lifetime. You never know if you're going to get them again.
Right. Nicole Nelson and her staff would love to have number 19 in the lineup, but you're exactly right. The chance to play for your country is something you can never replace. Even if you play for them a number of times, another chance you can never replace. And as much as the Mustangs miss Nia Rose, and they do, it is an experience that will make her a better player. And so while it means the Mustangs have to mix and match more combinations to try to make up for that missing piece on the front line, you have to think that Nia Rose is going to come back a better player, and it will benefit both Nia Rose and the Mustangs going forward. But yes, this team would love to have her back. In the meantime, they're cheering for her from afar.
It's been too strong for McCullough as Cotillard, who has been busy in this one, scrambles out to grab it. Cotillard already has 3 saves in this one. For her first 6 games this year, she only had 13 saves. So there have been times where she's been bored, hasn't even had to make a save in a game. That hasn't been the case in this one as of yet.
No, you don't get bored against a team like Baylor. They've got a lot of weapons. I know we've been highlighting Tyler Iskrig. She's not the only one. And, you know, and the Mustangs have made some changes on that defensive line in front of Cotillard. So there's no danger of her getting bored tonight, no matter what the score is.
It's a vertical ball, and not a great play back to Alvarez, but Alvarez is able to hit it solidly before King sends it back in the direction of Marissa Gray. And talking about the organization defensively for SMU in this, when they lost Mayu Inakawa against Texas, and it does appear to be an injury that is significant, and you know, probably one that would not make her available for the foreseeable future. And so when you have to replace not only your center back, and right now you've done it by moving the freshman Ungachik back there, but in addition to that, Steve, she's such a great vocal anchor on the back end. That gives SMU an added challenge. And how are they going to have to, you know, overcome that over the course of this season?
Well, you're right. Mayu Inakawa is kind of the quarterback of the defense. You know, she gets everyone lined up. She makes sure that people know their assignments. You're right. Her leadership and her organization and communication are probably as valuable as anything she does with the ball. And replacing that with anyone is a challenge. Replacing that with a freshman is a bigger challenge. And replacing it with a freshman who didn't come to SMU to play on the back line, okay, now you see the layers of challenge here. But Lydia Ungachik is, first of all, a very high soccer IQ, intelligent player. And she has played center back in the past. We talked to Nicole Nelson before the game today and asked, what did you think about her performance against TCU? And Coach Nelson was just raving about her performance, talking about the technical skill and her 1v1 defending ability. She has played some defender before she got to SMU. And she did say, sure, she's got to, you know, grow into the role as far as the organization and communication on the back line. But that is something that comes with and only with time on the field in that position. But she said she was so pleased with what she saw. She thinks Lydia Ungachik can be a very good, possibly a great center back, if in fact that's where she ends up staying.
It's going to be interesting to see how long she has to play there this season, and then over the course of her career, as you mentioned. But you know, just as big as how you play, it's how vocal you are. Making sure you have somebody vocally to lead that back line, and that's what SMU is trying to do. Meanwhile, the Mustangs make several substitutions as Emma Alford is in to play that right wing spot. They've also got Liz Eddy at a left wing, the freshman. Gordon, who's been good cutting in. Back to Alford, serves it across. Little heel kick by Eddy is just beyond her and goes out into the corner where it's watched into touch by Baylor. Now, in addition to that, the SMU Mustangs also make some changes in the midfield as Tori Peterson is on for the first time as well.
Nice little overlapping run here by Emma Alvord, who runs onto it and hits a one-time ball. Eddy tries to step over it and flick it with her heel. And we've talked about a couple of the players who've missed a little time with bumps and bruises. forcing other people into starting roles, but it also has left players like Liz Eddy started the first games of the year. To have a player like her come off the bench, or have a player like Emma Alvord, who started a bunch of games last year, come off the bench. Yes, they are missing some pieces who they would love to get back, but the Mustangs have some pretty quality players coming off the bench. Their depth is probably better than some teams realize.
And maybe they don't have huge numbers. We were remarking before the game at how enormous the Baylor roster is, especially the available players compared to what SMU has available right now. But even though maybe the depth isn't strong in numbers right now, for SMU there is some quality depth, and we've seen that so far. And Eliana Salama trying to spring Emma Alvord right up the middle, but she gets denied by Hallie Augustin.
Yeah, Baylor, I just counted 23 players on the bench.
Wow.
And it looks like 123 from here.
By the way, so you get a good look at, and if SMU charged admission for these matches, they would probably be trying to get down there and advance the gate a little bit.
Well, and Baylor obviously draws well, right? Waco's only
No
90
doubt.
minutes down I-35. I think it's 15 players on this Baylor roster are from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So you have to figure they have a lot of friends and family here as well, and former club teammates and that sort of thing. Plus, Baylor's got a big alumni base in Dallas. So there's a bunch of green and gold in the stands tonight.
Those fans have been quiet. Here's Eddy. She is nearly in, trying to get on her right foot and cross up. Can't do it, but Salama's right back on it. She drives it in, and it is a double doink, not only off the crossbar, but also off the right post. That close to making it a brace and a 2-0 lead for Eliana Salama.
And I'm not sure it didn't come back and hit Azul Alvarez as well. Here you see Salama tee it up, and it did. It came off the crossbar, and it hits the back of Azul Alvarez's arm and then got to the post.
Wow.
That ball tried every way possible to get in, and Azul Alvarez is probably letting out a deep sigh of relief. She was thrilled to see it roll wide.
For as much as SMU brags and marvels at Eliana Salama's 1v1 dribbling ability, and again, Nicole Nelson has said she's that best player in the dribble that she's had in her career, that she's coached in her career. Salama's shot for a goal was outstanding, and that was an absolute bomb as well. She is moving into the complete package here as SMU nearly gives it away. Ungashik is able to stick in even after her slip and help SMU advance it. But as we were saying, Salama's just got a lot to her game right now.
She is, and actually I'll start with Ungashik. I liked the composure. That is a freshman defender who, as you said, slipped, lost her footing, and didn't panic. Got up on her feet and was able to fight to get the ball back and punch it away. But to your point, Eliana Salama, there have been times earlier in her career when you saw the wheels and you saw the dribbling ability, but she has become a dangerous shooter from different angles with both feet, and she's also sort of the general up on the veteran leader of that front line now. As you mix in players like Emma Alvord and Liz Eddy and Kelly Gordon, these are all freshmen and sophomores. So Eliana Salama has taken on more of a leadership role with that group, and it's really benefited her, her own development, because she is seeing the game unfold in different ways because she has to help her younger teammates.
For Baylor, in the midfield, Ashley Merrill is lifted here by Hannah Boughton in for the first time, the 5'5" junior, another local kid from Colleyville, just about 30 minutes to our west. 9 minutes left in the first half. John Little alongside Steve Lansdale. Great to have you with us as well tonight on a warm night in Dallas, but not warm enough for hydration breaks for only the second time this season. That's always a line of demarcation for me in the year, when we get out of hydration break season and on to normal soccer season.
Yeah, and what's the next line? When we start wearing long sleeves to a game?
That's exactly right.
That's at least another month away.
Oh, my goodness. Unless there's some kind of blue norther coming in that I don't know about. At least a month. Out on the wing, it's Ava Kohlberg. Has it sniped away by SMU. Long ball in the direction of Alvord. And the Bears are able to keep possession with a vertical ball. Zinneker in behind. Zinneker serves it across, dangerous to the back post, and it does come up just a little bit too tall by Skylar Zinneker, the 5'7" sophomore out of Austin.
We've been singing Sierra Cotillard's praises all night, and deservedly so, but it looks like she almost got stuck in no man's land here. You see her backing up and then looking up at the ball, wondering, is that going to go over? Is that going to sneak into the top corner?
Oh,
fortunately, it went over.
The takeaway and nearly a goal for the Baylor Bears, as Lydia Ungashik does get pressured on the play by Callie Conrad. A giveaway, but Cotillard backs her up.
And I think you'll see teams do that as long as Ungashik is in the middle until she proves that she's not a freshman anymore. Center back is such a key piece, a key position in terms of possession and helping to start your teams build out of the back. And as talented as she is still a freshman and kind of has an advantage in that she enrolled a semester early, so she went through spring practice with the Mustangs. But if I'm coaching against SMU, I'm pressuring until she shows me that that's not going to work. And she has given indications that she's going to graduate out of that stage very quickly because she has this composure, this maturity, this calm that a lot of freshmen just don't have. But I think you'll see a bunch of teams test her.
It's very well said, Steve. And Conrad's a player you can test her with. One of the very talented Baylor players along that front line, even though she doesn't start at that 9 position. She comes in first, and she had the game-winning goals against Hawaii and against Portland in Hawaii, and nearly had the equalizer there thanks to the takeaway. Now the Bears building through the midfield. A nice ball out wide, and trying to center it in is Kai Hayes, headed out by Ungashik and backed up by Alvord for SMU. Baylor takes it away once more, though. Here's Sky Leach.
And that is one area in which Lydia Ungashik, to me, already is not a freshman. She is a pretty tall player, and she is rock solid in the air. She doesn't panic when the ball comes flying toward her head. She has cleared out a bunch of balls tonight and in earlier games as well. She is a strong player in the air already, and I think if you're going to force her into mistakes, it's going to be on the ground, it's going to be applying high pressure, it's going to be running your forwards and midfielders through the box on overlapping runs, trying to zigzag and give her looks maybe that she hasn't seen before. But sending crosses into the middle, number 15 is rock solid for SMU.
SMU up 1-0 on the goal by Eliana Salama, her 4th of the season. That was a handball, by the way, on Baylor. And SMU choosing to play it back into possession, and now a long ball for an advancing Hayden Hauscheid. Hauscheid trying to get in at that forward position and pressure in on Alvarez, who has to punch it away. So Hayden Hauscheid getting some of her first action of her career, and certainly her most significant action playing in the first half against a Big 12 team.
Yeah, and if she can become a contributor as well, I think Nicole Nelson and her staff have to be pretty thrilled with the start to the careers of this freshman class. Because when you talk about Lydia Ungashik and Kelly Gordon and Sadie Paul, maybe Hayden Hauscheid becomes part of that, and I'm forgetting one. But the Mustangs have gotten a lot of contributions already from players who are 18 years old, barely comfortable on campus so far.
There's a look at the freshmen
Bach, there it is,
who have played significant moments this year for SMU. Eddie and Gordon with multiple goals. Lydia Ungashik getting her 7th start, 2nd on the team in minutes coming in, and then Paxton Bach, who was lost for a few games with a knock to her head, back on as well. And Hauscheid trying to run onto this one, the good work rate. Hauscheid did not play at all as a freshman technically last season, so, you know, in her redshirt freshman season, if you will, getting some of her most significant action, and she can basically be a bonus part of this freshman class as she contributes.
Right, and a lot of coaches are pretty happy if they get significant contributions from a couple of freshmen this early in their year. So if SMU starts getting full contributions from 4 or 5 freshmen, again, the Mustang coaches have to be thrilled because they've identified and recruited some good players, and they'll have them for another 3 years.
3 minutes left in the half, and Isgrig trying to send one vertically toward the box. Denied by SMU, and then Bach backs it up along the far wall and plays another vertical one for Halshide. Halshide trying to run onto it, and she does. Halshide is in, sends it across, and Israel Alvarez leans to snipe it.
Nice run by Halshide, who not only got the inside shoulder on Hallie Augustin, outran her by a step to get to the ball, and then was able to keep her balance and keep her footing to get across into the middle. Now, she didn't have a teammate there to pass to or to pounce on a rebound, but really nice run and serve by Halshide.
Halshide with that shot for SMU. SMU was being outshot 5-1 early. They've made it 7-5. Baylor still out shooting SMU at this point. Lone goal to SMU. The serve across, a dangerous one, but a solid header by Hartman. And on that second ball, it's in the feet of Burr. She's unable to fully clear it, and Baylor plays it into possession with under 2 minutes left to play in the half.
You never want to stop playing for offensive chances, and the Mustangs certainly won't. But they are being careful. With a minute and a half remaining in the half, you've got all 11 behind midfield and about 9 sitting deep enough to help in the defensive third. They definitely don't want to give up an equalizer before the intermission.
Another serve across by Kohlberg. The header down, not very dangerous for Baylor there, as it was Salma Simona who had an opportunity to head it toward the goal.
She did, but her body was sort of carrying away from the goal, so she wasn't able to get a whole lot on it, giving Sierra Cotillard plenty of time to take a couple steps to her right and grab it.
And rather, that was Hannah Boughton who was in on the play. But with less than a minute to play in the half, SMU trying to hang on to the break with the 1-0 advantage. They've played a pretty solid first half and got a fortunate goal as well. Boughton winning that first touch, but King, who only goes at 5'3", stands up well against the stout Boughton and sends it into touch for a throw-in for Baylor. Just a few seconds left in the half.
You know that phrase that coaches say about a player who plays larger than her size? I hate that phrase, but in the case of Sophie King, it's true. She is a tough, physical defender. And you're right, she's only 5'3", but she doesn't back down from anybody on a one-on-one.
That's it for the first half. SMU gets a fortunate goal. Eliana.
A value to absorbing that punch if you absorb it and you're still standing, but giving up a goal early could be very deflating.
SMU early in the second half just playing it to the corner and looking for some pressure, trying to win a ball on a takeaway, and quite a nice job by SMU to do so as they'll get a throw-in out of it. SMU in the white, of course, and Baylor in the green. By the way, that wind again coming out of the top left corner and cutting across to the bottom right of your screen, and so SMU has the wind behind them in the second half. Byers trying to play it out wide to Mackenzie Rudden, the holding midfielder for SMU. Hartman, the transfer from LSU, will get Sierra Cotillard involved, coming well off her line.
And I don't hate this by the Mustangs. If the Bears are going to press high, as they have just a little bit with Alicia Lockett, if I'm the Mustangs, sure, make her chase a little bit and see if you can take a little wind out of her sail.
Baylor trying to get forward. Sophie King making it tough, and then Sammy Nieves able to play it away from Hannah Augustin, but coming up with the theft is Baylor. And this is at least a play on for now, and it ends up being a fair play as Natalie Votter was knocked down what looked to be a shoulder charge, but a fair one.
It was a nice job by the Mustangs, as a couple of their players got bumped as they were passing the ball, but they were able to maintain possession And here's Eliana Salama again, and you saw her look up for just a second. How close am I to that goal?
Byers trying to take it away right at the top of the 18. Salama back on it. Now here's the dribbling by Salama. She's free in the 18, goes low and left near post. It comes right back to her, plays it back inside, and Gordon could not advance to it. It is cleared away by Baylor.
Nice shot by Salama, trying to sneak it in the short side. The problem is there just wasn't much room. And good job by Azul Alvarez sealing off that left goal post and making sure that ball didn't sneak through. Had it gotten in, that would be one that she would definitely want back. But Alvarez up to the task.
Alvarez, who has played the Mexican national team at several different levels. Hadn't played in a year, did not play for TCU last year, so it took her just a minute to get reaccustomed to being the person in goal, but she's really taken to it here recently. Gordon was trying to one-touch it on toward Nieves, but it never got there. And SMU playing on the front foot to start the second half. You were wondering if you were going to see a Mustang team on their heels. No, it looks like Nicole Nelson's team is hunting that second goal.
Yeah, and one little subplot to watch, Hannah Augustine got taken to the ground on a 50-50 ball, and she got up really slowly. She is up, she is moving, and she certainly hasn't looked to the Baylor bench asking for any medical assistance, but you see her right now. She's standing near the penalty spot in front of the Baylor goal, and she is clearly favoring, I believe it's her left leg. But she's going to stay with it.
It's a key player for Baylor. Hannah Augustine, who wears number 28, a key defensive mid for this team, can also play an outside back spot. Great play by King to get it down to Salama. Here comes SMU again. Salama has the shot blocked, however, out front. Wonderful job by Marissa Gray to get right out in front of it.
Yeah, and clearly the Bears have realized that when Salama goes across the top of the box, if she's not going to shoot, she's at least looking for a shot there. And Gray did a nice job stepping forward and pouncing on that ball and basically blocking it as it came off of Salama's foot. That looks like a defensive adjustment by the Bears to play her much tighter at the top of the 18.
Gordon with the takeaway from Isgrig. And SMU turns it back up the field once more. This is served back in by Gray. Popped out, Isgrig again, sends it down. Merrill back to Isgrig on the 1-2. Isgrig across the way and on the centering feed. Lockett just could not get it past coat to yard. She pops it up over the goal on one of the better chances for Baylor.
You talked about how Lockett is ready to open her account, and she came so close. You see her split a couple defenders here, and it was actually a defender who sends it over the end line as it got just too dangerously close to that goal. And Sophie King was the one who punches it wide. You don't want to give up the corner, but it's a whole lot better than a shot on goal. Nice play by Sophie King as well.
Isgrig's going to use her left foot. SMU has given up several goals on restarts this year. On to the top of the 6, almost unmarked on that header. It goes wide, but a really good chance for Hallie Augustine, who has scored this season for Baylor.
And unmarked is the key there. There was a defensive mix-up. Somebody got their signals crossed on the defensive end for the Mustangs, and number 27 was roaming free almost to the 6-yard line. They've got to get that cleaned up on the next corner.
She and her sister Hannah had goals against St. Bonaventure in that 5-2 throttling early in the year. Hallie has scored 4 goals. This is her 41st start of her career. Another chance for Baylor. Out top to Ashley Merrill. 50 goals in her career. Merrill with the drive. It's off of Rudden and out to the corner. Centering feed is on the ground. Hartman pops it back toward the corner, and it's run down by Rudden to get it out of trouble, at least for now for SMU, until Sky Leach takes it away for the Bears. Lockett has it played away by Lou Brousseau, however.
And that sequence was sort of a microcosm of what Mackenzie Rudden is for this SMU team. Nicole Nelson talks all the time.
Ooh, that serve was tough. Coat to yard couldn't grab it cleanly, and Merrill got a toe on it, although not solidly. Merrill again, this time inside the box. Knocked down by Ungashik, and she clears it away. Looked like it was off her body, but very close to being a hand, and Baylor is not
Yeah, and Merrill is making her presence much more, she's much more visible in the early going in the second half. She's one of those players who always seems to be around the ball, or the ball finds her. And there you see she's got 50 goals of current NCAA players, third in the entire country.
Yeah, and that's of Division I active players. Now, half of her goals came at Division II. Also for Imani Jenkins, some of her goals came at a different level. However, if you can score, you can score. And Ashley Merrill has shown that in her 3 years at Baylor.
Exactly. You can put her at any level, and she's one of those players who just finds the ball or the ball finds her. And she always seems to know where the goal is and how to get it there.
Lockett's had a good start to the second half. Lockett tried to serve it across, and King knocks it over the end line again. And it will be another corner kick for Baylor.
Yeah, the Bears clearly have sort of ratcheted things up a little bit. They're sort of flying in more numbers. At times in the first half, they would press high with a couple of players, but now they're pressing with more of their midfield as well, trying to force the SMU defense into an error. So far, it hasn't happened yet, but the more pressure you apply, the closer you get to finding a crack in the opponent's armor.
Isgrig on the serve, near post, headed up by Rudden. Secondary header won by Ungashik. This one won by Baylor. Then Hartman gets one. Nieves toe pokes it out. It's reserved in by Votter. And Votter's going to try to do it one more time for Baylor to keep some pressure on. It'll be a throw in for the Bears.
A little bit unlucky as that ball came down and caught Maura Umel and almost looked like he caught her in the side of the face. I'm wondering if she lost it in the stadium lights.
May have. It's not like a player with that kind of experience to miss hit a header like that or just have it glance off of her face. Serve in. Hartman is there. Second ball won by Brousseau, but Baylor able to stick with it. Leach distributing out wide, but McCullough was offside on that left wing.
The Mustangs turning the tables a little bit. The Bears caught SMU in an offside trap a couple times in the first half. Now SMU able to do the same.
See Lockett, striker, chasing the ball around a little bit, especially when it was with the keeper. Brousseau with a good move in midfield to give herself some space. Brousseau plays it through to Salama, who has players out in front. Salama gets it blocked, and Leach will run to it for Baylor. Leach with an attacking mindset. Out wide. Here comes Isgrig. Isgrig shot. Cotillard is there again. Sierra Cotillard is having her best match as a Mustang.
Cotillard has been fantastic so far tonight. And you're right, that one was earmarked for the upper right corner. And the 5'11" transfer stretches out every inch and got her hands on it to keep the Bears scoreless for the time being.
Hey, we step really quick.
Under 35 to play in the second half. Baylor now up to 11 shots.
Stop. Up. Ah, fuck. Up. Stop.
Here's a chance for Isgrig. Ball on the ground. Deflection. It's in. And we're tied up as the Baylor Bears have knotted it up. Isgrig's feed deflected in. And the equalizer for Hallie Augustin.
Yeah, and it was interesting after this goal, Augustin turns around and looks at the officials for a moment as if to make sure that it wasn't waved off. I don't know if she thought she was in an offside position or if there was a collision in front of the box that maybe she was worried that a whistle might go against the Bears, but she paused for just a minute. And then when she saw the signal from the official, then she jumped into the arms of a couple of her teammates.
And how good does that feel for Hallie Augustin? It was her misplay at the center back position that gave up the goal to Salama in the first half. And now she's got the equalizer.
She's been dying for a play to effectively erase that, and whether that means she scores a goal or not is one thing. Even if she set up a teammate or made a key defensive stop, that kind of thing would have been huge. But to get the equalizer after having served up the giveaway has got to feel amazing for Hallie Augustin.
Really good ball by Isgrig. And it did look like the play was onside. It appeared that Ashley Merrill was offside for a moment, but got into an onside position before the serve came in across the way from Iskrig.
And that's what the Bears were looking for.
Just making sure that there was no offside called, and it was not. And now SMU gives up the lead, and here comes Baylor once again trying to take the advantage. Merrill might have been smart to turn toward the goal on this one, but on her unselfish touch toward Iskrig, it's intercepted. So we've got a game knotted up at 1 in Dallas. And that first half that wasn't poor for Baylor, but certainly left something to be desired. But they have recovered in the second half to get that magic moment to tie things up. Another offside called against Baylor.
I think it's a delayed foul on Kelly Gordon as she
my apologies.
Took down an opponent, and referee Ashley Sadro waited to see if the Bears were able to maintain possession, and when they didn't, then she blew the whistle.
You're exactly right. And so after she fouled Vodder, there will be an opportunity here from way back. You see probably about 30 yards from where the play ended up. And Marissa Gray taking the serve now.
And Alicia Lockett is about 5 yards behind the entire SMU defense, and then came scrambling back into an onside position. Kind of an unusual alignment you don't see very often. Mustangs didn't need an offside trap there. She was way offside, but she knew what she was doing and came scrambling back.
The game within the game. He's Steve Lansdale. I'm John Little. We're tied up at 1. Been some good plays on both sides, and now got 32 minutes to try to decide a winner in Dallas. Throw in coming for SMU.
We talked at the end of the first half about what adjustments might be coming, and the Baylor Bears have dropped a couple of holding midfielders back a little bit. In the first half, we saw several runs by the Mustangs where they were able to find gaps in that back Baylor line and thread balls through to teammates running forward for scoring chances. And there have been 3 or 4 in just the last couple minutes that have been snuffed out by holding midfielders who are sitting a little bit deeper. Nice adjustment by Michelle Leonard and her staff.
Great takeaway by Sky Leach, just playing Brousseau so well. Out to Iskrig. Iskrig on the right foot, sends it to her left, touches it out front, trying to slide it down, Hannah Augustin, but she mishits it. And SMU's Salama turns it ahead on the advance. Salama taken down, and a foul coming against Baylor here for an SMU restart. It's actually the first Baylor foul of the match.
Yeah,
SMU with a quick restart. Byers trying to go inside, looking for Gordon, but it comes all the way through the mouth of the goal.
It's been a very clean match so far. Not a lot of bumping and bruising on between these teams. They're letting the ball do the work and playing each other straight up and playing each other honestly.
One more non-conference match before conference play hits for Baylor. They've got 2 more non-conference matches overall on the season. So they will take on Iowa on the road. And then after playing Oklahoma State, they'll face Texas State. That'll be their final non-conference matchup. For SMU, this is it. They'll have the start of ACC play with 2 matches at home in the next few weeks. Sammy Nieves been a little bit quiet over the last few games. You see that next Thursday, right here on the ACC Network Extra, SMU plays their first ever ACC match against Syracuse. 7 o'clock start Central Time. Looking forward to having you with us here on ACC Network Extra.
We talked a moment ago about the defensive adjustment Baylor has made. I think if you're the Mustangs now, you want to start switching fields a little more frequently and a little more quickly to try to stretch out the back end of that Baylor defense and reopen some of those gaps to try to create passing lanes.
Here's Salama. Plays it back to King. To Salama once more. Salama trying to dribble in. King is there to back it up. King takes the end line, serves it across. Nieves waiting on the backside, but Ashley Merrill playing box to box here, heads it away. Rudden with that heavy first touch, and she cannot hold it. And here comes Baylor looking to advance. Really nice block in open space, though, by Brousseau to stop the breakout.
Yeah, and she wasn't able to keep possession for the Mustangs, but just by intercepting that pass, she thwarted what looked like it was about to be a Baylor fast break. So you're right, very nice breakup by Brousseau.
Here's Lockett with some space, but King makes the move and takes it away cleanly. Sophie King with nice play on a tough player to handle in Alicia Lockett. A forward with exceptional pace for Baylor. Here's McCullough looking to crisscross and get it to Potter on an overlapping run, but SMU intercepts easily. A long vertical ball in the direction of Byers, but Azul Alvarez is there first.
Good idea going up and over the defense, because the Mustangs have been trying to play through keeping the ball on the ground. And even though that one didn't connect with Truth Byers running into the box, as Azul Alvarez was able to come out and snatch it, it gave the Bears one more thing to think about. And maybe they don't press up quite as high as they did in the back line, knowing that the Mustangs have the capability and the thought to go over the top.
Again, SMU had won 21 straight when scoring first. That's in jeopardy. They were unbeaten and untied in their last 21 when scoring the opener. A mark that goes all the way back to when Chris Petroselli was the bench boss here at SMU.
Yeah, and obviously Nicole Nelson learned so much from Chris Petroselli as a longtime assistant for Coach Petroselli. They think the game the same way. They teach the same things, and they believe in the same principles. So a lot of what you see the Mustangs learning now is exactly the kind of system that Coach Petroselli taught for so many years on the Hilltop.
Petroselli's team's so good at closing out matches, so tactical in that way. You know, could close out 1-0 games with the best of them as Nieves goes down. By the way, 2 subs coming in along the front line for Baylor. Instead of Lockett, it will be Callie Conrad coming in, and also in at a wing spot, Skylar Zinneker is in for Teresa McCullough.
And the art of killing off a 1-goal game has changed a lot over the years. You know, 20, 30 years ago, you could kick the ball 3/4 of the field back to your goalkeeper, who could then pick it up. That obviously changed years ago. But even now, it's no longer just a matter of going to the corner flag and dancing with the ball there for the last few minutes, or kicking the ball into the 40th row of the seats. It is about spacing. It is about distance. It is about making your opponent chase, which gives your opponent more of a chance. It also wears them out and frustrates them, though.
It's that control of the game that Michelle Leonard talked so much about when we discussed with her yesterday. That's what she prides her team on having. That's what they had against A&M. Haven't had it here today as Nieves serves it in and Byers arrives late, but that's what Baylor has been building toward as Michelle Leonard came into a program that was really reeling as Eliana Salama takes it away. Salama tries to serve it back to Byers, and it's going to end up in a corner after the Baylor giveaway.
Great play by Eliana Salama to knock that ball down and then still have the quickness to go get it. A lot of times you knock a ball down, but it caroms, you know, 10, 20 yards away, and then it goes right to a defender or it goes out of bounds. But number 9 always sniffing the ball and quick enough to go chase it down. She tried to connect with Truth Byers, but there were a couple of green jerseys between the two. So she didn't get the ball through to Byers, but she did get a corner kick for SMU.
So Salama getting some early rest in the second half as she comes off. Also, Bella Burr comes in for SMU in place of Lou Brousseau. And it looked like Truth Byers thought that she was coming off, perhaps, but she does stay in the match, of course.
She got to about a yard, within a yard of the touchline, and by doing that and then coming back on, she was camped out about 10 yards behind everyone for both teams, and I don't think the Bears even saw her come back on the field. But obviously the Ponies played a short corner and were not unable to get it to her.
This one on the ground. Gordon trying to find it for SMU. Still in a dangerous spot. Byers rips it off of her own player, it appears. Yeah, it went off of Rudden for a goal kick.
Rudden is one of those players that Nicole Nelson keeps talking about as a box-to-box midfielder. And part of that entails putting your body on the line. A few minutes ago on the defensive end, she got drilled right in the kidney and still got up and chased the ball down before it went out of bounds. This time she gets caught by friendly fire. But she is the kind of player who doesn't do a lot on the stat sheet, but she does so much to help everyone else on the stat sheet. Mustangs wouldn't give up number 8 for anything.
Played all 90 last time out against TCU. First match back after a knock. Skylar Zineker offside. That is the third offsides call against Baylor. And SMU has already been offsides 3 times as well in this 1-1 match. SMU scoring first, Eliana Salama in the 12th minute, and then early in the second half. Baylor off a beautiful feed by Tyler Iskrig and the deflection by Hallie Augustin, knotting it up.
And the Bears have switched their wings as well. Tyler Iskrig played most of the first half at left wing, and Skylar Zineker, when she came into the game, was on the right. Now they have flipped. Zineker's on the left, Iskrig on the right. And what that allows, or one of the things that allows, is if Iskrig cuts across the grain and starts coming across the box, she has that powerful left foot available for a shot that she can hit from 20, 25 plus.
Yeah, Iskrig hitting the winner, game-winning goal and the 1-0 result over Texas A&M last time out. There's the goal scorer in today's game. Somebody who's been around both goals, Hallie Augustin, the junior from Flower Mound, about 30 minutes off to our northwest. As Nieves serves this one in, and Augustin is able to get a half clearance, but Paxton Bach, who just came in, is on it, looking for the end line run, and it's a corner for SMU as this one bounces off of Vodder, the outside back.
And Paxton Bach's addition to the lineup just a minute ago when she came in reestablished the matchup we saw in the first half with Iskrig going against Maura Umel, because Umel now flips over from the right to the left back, Paxton Bach playing on the right side. So now you've got Iskrig and Umel going head-to-head again.
Sammy Nieves out of the corner, third corner for SMU. To the back post, just trying to get a header down. That secondary header by Rudden is on goal, but easily swallowed in by Azul Alvarez.
And a good thing it was, because Kelly Gordon was about 1 step behind her, and had that ball somehow squirted through Alvarez, Gordon would have had a slam dunk for what would have been the easiest goal of her career. She was about 2 feet off the line, dead center.
3 saves for Baylor's Alvarez. Sierra Cotillard with 5 saves for SMU. And the Mustangs were in an offside position. Under 21 minutes left to play. SMU hunting their 3rd straight win over Baylor. Their last loss to the Bears was in overtime back in 21. Augustin, the long ball. It is one down by Conrad, and a chance for the Bears. Although they play it back into possession and into the corner to Zineker again. Zineker on the right foot, the serve across, headed out by Rudden, and one touch by Burr to send it up the field for SMU.
Really nice redirection by Burr when it would have been so easy to just flick it long and effectively punt the ball away to your opponent. But she was able to redirect it and keep possession.
Bach with speed down to Gordon. Gordon looking to slot it across. It's blocked back at her. Gordon looking to win one for SMU. Falling down in the corner, and the foul against Hallie Augustin means SMU gets almost basically a corner kick on this free kick.
Good job by Gordon drawing that foul, as she was pinched right in at the corner flag and really had almost no room to spin away. And honestly, if I'm Baylor, I don't hate that foul at all by Hallie Augustin, because if Gordon had been able to punch the ball through and hop over Augustin while she was lying on the ground, she could have waltzed right into the penalty area and even into the goal box. There was lots of open real estate.
Nieves may have mishit the serve a bit. kind of rolled over it. And it will be an SMU throw-in. However, Baylor gets the clearance that they were looking for. SMU going into the bench once more on this warm night. After a little bit of work, Bella Burr is out and Tori Peterson is on for SMU to play a midfield spot.
Peterson's a pretty versatile player in what looks like it'll be something of a holding midfield spot. She's a former, primarily a defender a couple of years ago, and very comfortable playing in the back end and very reliable.
Nice touch down to Sammy Nieves, cuts to the middle, looking to cross it, stopping on it, Liz Eddy, and she fires it high. Liz Eddy has that cannon with the right foot, trying to give SMU the lead.
Liz Eddy might be SMU's answer to Tyler Isgrig, in that she can knock the ball down 20, 25 yards out and pull the trigger very quickly. She's got a couple of goals this year from distance, and she is, as you say, she's got a cannon. She is not afraid to fire from distance.
Eddy coming on for Salama here in the second half. Not getting the start today. SMU, a couple good touches. Byers out to the wing to Gordon. Gordon's played every minute in this game, getting her first career start. Gordon down to the end line, trying to serve it off the line. And it is going to be a goal kick. She did not, she was not able to win it before it eclipsed the line.
Nice little start and stop by Gordon in order to try to shake Natalie Vader. And she did get a half a step of separation, but then she just ran out of room.
17 minutes for one of these teams to try to pick up a winner in Dallas. SMU probably feeling really good about their first half, which included the Salama goal, and Salama just cranking one off the crossbar. Second half, Isgrig hitting Augustin for a one-touch equalizer. Now here's Isgrig onto her right foot. Bach able to knock it down. Was it with a hand? Evidently not, and it was just outside the box, so not a reviewable play. Baylor certainly wanted a handball in the action. Ashley Cedro, the center referee, said no. Here's Nieves waiting for the play to be onside out in front of her. Nieves is going to turn back and reverse it. So much room for Paxton Bach. Bach recovers near the sideline. Bach looking for the serve. It bounces in, and Baylor able to get it forward by Merrill. Eddy turns in with space. Eddy lays it off. And as Rudden tried to serve it across, it's knocked down. Since the Baylor goal, SMU has definitely had more possession and been the more offensively minded team. Peterson looking vertically, and Byers decided not to give it a run.
We talked coming out of the half about whether the Mustangs would be able to match the intensity, the urgency of the Baylor Bears, and I think for the most part this half they've done that very, very well.
But off that one restart, and Isgrig just walking in from the corner and centering one across, Baylor got that equalizer. Bach down to Nieves. Nieves looking for Bach again, but behind her. And with about 15 minutes left in this match, SMU will go back into the bench. Eliana Salama got a quick rest, and she's going to replace Byers at the 9 spot, at the striker position most likely. And also Emma Alvord, ultra rested, comes into the match at a wing position.
Yeah, Emma Alvord is very dangerous off the bench because anyone who's watching, who's heard us call any SMU games before, has heard us talk about how she is usually the fastest player on the field no matter who SMU is playing. She's a former state champion in track, and she can absolutely fly, and that's enough of a problem to deal with when everybody's rested. But if you've been chasing other players for the last 25 minutes and now you have her coming in completely fresh, that poses a legitimate challenge for the left side of the Baylor defense.
A rested player comes on for the first time for Baylor wearing number 7. It is Adriana Merriam. SMU stops Conrad's run, and Hartman will let her team recollect. 14 minutes left in Dallas. Again, the last non-conference game for SMU. All their non-con games have been at home. And SMU commits the foul here. Alvord against Merriam will give Baylor a restart over near the corner.
And you talked about this run of home games. SMU played as many home games this year by September 1st as they played the entire season last year. And last year was a bit of an outlier as they sort of lived on the road, but it has been a very, very different environment for these players getting used to their new team.
Isgrig, a good ball to the top of the 6, but it bounces over. Hummel with the wheels to go win it against Merrill, who commits the foul.
Yeah, nice hustle by Hummel, getting on her horse and beating Merrill to that loose ball, because as we've said several times, Merrill is such a dangerous player who can attack from so many different ways. The last thing you want to do is give number 17 the ball that far into the offensive third.
Fun match tonight with chances on both sides. Some good saves by both keepers. Some quality offensive moments. Baylor and SMU knotted up at 1. 12.5 minutes left in regulation. Will there be a goal to put one of these teams ahead? Isgrig has space on the left, and the ball gets there from Merrill. Isgrig against the freshman, cuts to her right foot. Isgrig for the second game in a row. It's a bomb to put Baylor in front, 2-1.
We've talked about the strength of her left-footed shot, but we did say several times, including at the beginning, at the outset of the game, that she has a very strong shot with both feet, and that was a gorgeous right-footed shot. You see her get one step inside of Paxton Bach, sort of got her on her heels, and that was just enough separation, and you see Isgrig bend it into that upper right corner. Sierra Cotillard is a tall goalkeeper with long arms and pretty athletic, and there's no way she was going to reach that. I don't know how many goalies anywhere in the country were going to reach that. Beautiful shot by Tyler Isgrig.
You mentioned Isgrig being on the right wing for a time. Well, she was on the left wing that side and hits it perfectly to put Baylor in front, 2-1, and now SMU down for the first time in the match. They will have the corner after the Albert run. What a play by Baylor's Tyler Isgrig. Just a beauty. Now Salama on the quick restart. Header on the backside is out of play as Peterson was unable to keep it in. Tyler Isgrig, her second goal of the season, 14th of her career. Michelle Leonard, the head coach of Baylor, as Lockett comes in for Conrad at the striker spot, said it did not surprise her one bit that she hit the winner against A&M in the fashion that she did. They've seen it 1,000,000 times in training, and now they've seen it, well, 1,000,002, because she's done it 2 games in a row.
Yeah, she said Isgrig does that every day. We're used to it. For opponents, they're not used to it, but they will get used to it because she is a terrific shooter, again, with either foot.
6 goals, 9 assists a season ago. She has an assist on the equalizer tonight, and then the go-ahead goal. Actually, Merrill may have been stepped on. Merrill got the assist on the Isgrig offering. Merrill's 12th assist versus 50 goals in her illustrious career. And again, SMU, not since 2021 had they lost a match where they scored the opener. And that is in jeopardy right now.
Now the Mustangs applying some high pressure as Baylor did in the first half.
King misses on that one, but that one goes out of play, evidently last touched by King.
Face here, why move your feet?
Boy,
I thought that
like it from here.
I thought that serve, which started with Marissa Gray, got all the way over King. I thought she just missed it, but evidently not. And maybe that's why Baylor let it go out, because they knew that King had grazed it, and this will be a goal kick.
Maybe she's a little taller than that listed 5'3".
Well, with the hair, at least 5'3 and a quarter.
Maybe the ponytail flew up and got it.
10 minutes remaining. SMU looking for the equalizer. They've had chances. Nieves has the defender fall down. Nieves falls down as well. They both found a slick spot. First, it was Augustin who slipped to the turf, and then Nieves had her cleats give way too.
And for the Mustangs, it's a little bit scary when you see Nieves fall, because she missed all of last year with a knee injury. Here you see her get past Augustin, and you're absolutely right. Her foot just dug into the turf and slid out from under her. I don't know if it was wet or a little bit carved up from earlier in the game, but she was on her way to a one-on-one with Azul Alvarez, and all of a sudden, she wasn't.
We've had several straight days of at least a little bit of rain. Not an overwhelming amount like we had on Sunday night into Monday. Might be a little bit slick, but
I think more than that, it may be a little bit soft, having absorbed all this water. I don't think there's any water on the surface anymore, for sure.
That's a great point.
But it may be a little soft. It's a beautiful field. But, you know, we had a ton of rain the other night when TCU was here.
Now Baylor up 2-1, looking for the goal to put it away. Ball in the direction of Lockett is cut off. Cotillard sends it into space. Cotillard's made some brilliant stops in this one. She just has been victimized by a couple of plays that she had no chance on, and Baylor has been able to put in the back of the net. And Iskrig, the straw that stirred the drink on each one. Every moment the Bears have possession, a moment that SMU cannot get that equalizer, as Baylor looks for the 5-game winning streak here.
Let's go wide.
Yeah, Michelle Leonard and her staff absolutely prioritize possession over just about everything. And right now the Bears are doing a nice job of, if necessary, just play keep away.
Seven and a half left. Here's Iskrig once more. Looks backside for Lockett. Lockett running onto it, trying to make a play. However, the center backs combine to send it away. Baylor, despite being down 1-0, now in a position to win, up 2-1 on the road at SMU.
And when you're down a goal with not too much time left, especially if you were ahead first and have watched the lead slip away, the inclination can certainly be tempting to try to hit a home run ball and send a 50-yard pass upfield.
And SMU will not have to do that here, as Byers runs onto it, has Salama on her left, and also Nieves streaking. Nieves trying to leave it behind her. Salama on it. She has Byers to her right, didn't see her in time. And now Eddie joining as well, as SMU is even numbers-wise. Byers crosses it. And a corner coming up for SMU after the solid play by the graduate, Marissa Gray.
With 6.5 minutes left, there's still time to play through transition passing through all 3/3 of the field. There will come a point when, yeah, you do have to hit a home run ball and just sort of pray for a miracle. But we're not at that point just yet.
And the serve on the corner, headed out by Hallie Augustin. And SMU will have another chance, or the play in, I should say, the throw in, and now it will be a corner. By the way, the last time that Baylor won 4 games in a row was also the last time they won 5 games in a row and 6 games in a row and 7 and 8 as well, as they were running through Big 12 play back in 2018. The serve by Nieves. Hartman got a header on it. Looked like she hung forever. Peterson backing it up. And SMU with some possession, 5.5 minutes left, looking for the equalizer. King leans into it. It's tapped off the head of Rudden, and a goal kick upcoming.
And you can sort of feel and hear a little bit of swell of energy from the fans. And as we said, a lot of Baylor fans in attendance here tonight at Washburn Soccer and Track Stadium. None more torn, perhaps, than the mother of Caitlin Swan, midfielder for Baylor. Her mother, Danielle, played at SMU, was an incredibly good player at SMU, and her father, Craig, was a middle linebacker at SMU. But mom, Danny Swan, is over there in the crowd, and yes, she is wearing her daughter's colors, not her alma mater's.
You gave her a little bit of grief for that, didn't you?
No, not directly. It just looks unusual, right? Because if you're old like I am and you remember watching then Danny Brasseau play, it just looks a little different that she's in green and white, not in red and blue. But hey, blood is thicker than alma mater or something.
That's a phrase coined by Steve Lansdale. 4:20 remaining.
Got to copyright it.
Baylor's in a good spot to win their 5th in a row. And King, sensing her team was in a tough spot, with only playing 3 back across the back line right now, and more players in the attacking third, she decided to go ahead and take the corner kick instead of letting that play stay alive. Tyler Iskrig, who has been so very dangerous in this one on the restart. Iskrig with an assist, then the go-ahead goal. Iskrig onto her right foot. And with 4 minutes left, she is looking to milk some time here. I thought we were going to see a serve, but instead Iskrig says, I like the 20 seconds off the clock better, and throw-in coming for the Bears as well.
Right. Right now, the clock over in front of Moody Coliseum is really the 12th player for the Baylor Bears. But when it's 3.5 minutes or more left, that seems awfully early to be dancing with the corner flag. But to your point, Iskrig did it and milked a good 20 seconds off the clock, so it worked.
Here's Peterson serving it ahead. Just mishits that one. Byers and Nieves were 2 on 3.
Yeah, that one rolled a little bit off the side of Peterson's foot. If she'd been able to curl it just a little bit over the defense, Sammy Nieves had gotten behind Marissa Gray and was in position to make a run toward the goal.
2018, Baylor won 10 straight matches during conference play and then into the Big 12 conference tournament as well. And that was also a year where they made it to the NCAA quarterfinals. So when Baylor goes on a run, normally works out pretty well for the Bears. This is going to be their 5th straight win if they can hold off SMU for the remainder, the last 2-10 here in Dallas. Marissa Gray, who came back, winning the center back spot for this Baylor team. She has been very solid in this one. Maybe a final couple chances for SMU. Byers is going to pressure, with this ball being played back to Alvarez. She sends it into space, keeps it within the field of play. Nieves will get a throw in out of it. With under 2 minutes left. Tori Peterson has the best throw on this SMU team, and she'll retreat back into the bench to look for something. Gets it to the edge of the 18. Merrill heads it out. Played on the ground. Peterson looking to serve it, but can't reach it cleanly. With 90 seconds left, it's cleared out to midfield. And Ungashik able to take it away from Lockett. Again, the freshman, who maybe hasn't been quite as good today as she was against TCU. Very calm win against a freshman Lockett on the other side.
Again, yes, calm is the right word. You know, here we were, 90 seconds left in the game, her team trailing by a goal. Ball bounces and she let it get by her and then calmly took it right back. Again, very, very poised for a freshman.
1 minute left. SMU got the opener. Eliana Salama off a Baylor giveaway, put it in the back of the net. But in the second half, the Bears got the equalizer. Tyler Isgrake feeding it in for a one-time deflection by Hallie Augustin to make it 1-1, and then Isgrake in on the left side, put it on her right foot for the go-ahead goal. And with 30 seconds left, Baylor is about to knock off SMU and make it 5 straight victories for the Bears.
And I think the Bears have to be very pleased with this outcome. They stayed true to the system that they were playing. They didn't panic when they were down a goal. They changed their shape on the back end just a little bit, which effectively snuffed out the Mustangs' plan of attack. And they stayed patient, and they got the equalizer, they got the go-ahead goal, and now they're going to walk out of Dallas with a win.
For the second straight game, Michelle Leonard gets a Tyler Isgrake game winner in the final 20 minutes of a match. This time